Welcome, guys, to a whole new lecture on the Rail of the Serpent. And the topic or the request for today was how to make yourself stronger from the demon perspective. I hope you guys aren't hungover or too hungover. And let's get this going. I was thinking about this concept of becoming stronger, and I've talked about this before, right? Where you have to become a worthy vessel to work in a beneficial way with the spirits, right? Okay. And I'm sorry, this is like that's such a distraction. Okay. You have to become a worthy vessel to benefit fully from the powers they can bring into your life, right? So it really is about you growing on a constant basis. Okay. What the demons will do, or the spirits, is they will change your psychology. Okay. They will change your psychology in a way where they will constantly destroy your sense of self. That's an ongoing process, right? The world is a reflection of you. Every relationship that you have, every person you draw into your life, um, every activity you do is in some way aligned with what's within you. All right, you have to resonate. Uh, you have to resonate on the same frequency, right? Now, there's this concept in the Vedas, which is called Maya, right? Maya translates roughly into illusion. And what they mean by that is the illusion of a separation between the inside and the outside, between the internal world and the external world. That's number one. And number two, a kind of like a projection. Okay. So what they will teach you is that everything starts with you. Everything in your life has to start within you. Okay. This growth process can be very painful if you are not aware that this growth process is going on. Okay. Once you call the spirits into your life, once you start working with them, they will remove any illusion about self that you have. And the illusion of self is the ultimate illusion, the ego perspective. And that's basically the end goal. That's where they will get you to understand that you are not separate from anything externally. And if you still experience the world largely as something that has nothing to do with your internal world, that is just random, you still have some work to do. Okay. Now, what the demons think, it's a bad word, but what the demons would consider beneficial is your willingness to question everything. Okay. Now, how do you do this practically? You have to, number one, become aware of all of your core beliefs, of your fears, of your understandings of the world. Most people are not consciously aware why they perceive the world in the way they do it. They, pick stuff up. They hear somebody say something and then they just regurgitate that. And that's basically their entire life, right? They go through a system that teaches them to perceive the world in a certain way, and then they're locked in this box, right? Try having a discussion with normal people, okay, quote unquote, normal people. They don't understand their own thought process. They don't understand their own the flaws in their own uh, you know, understanding of the world, right? And if you have never uh, worked in that way, where you can see your thoughts actually being created, and then uh, understand that it's, that the external world is being processed in a certain way within you that creates something that you perceive externally. Okay, well, how should I put? Let's put it this way. Okay, this world outside of you doesn't really exist in the way that you perceive it. There are many, many more frequencies than what you can see with your physical eyes, and it's just, you take in sensory data, and it's trans translated into something that you perceive as the external world. Okay? You don't really know what's outside of you. Okay, you're limited to the physical senses for the most part, and as this external sensory data is being transferred into your mind, there are a lot of layers of, shortcuts. This means this. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the truth, but there are a lot of shortcuts in the brain and in the mind that you know create a you know false image of the world. And these distortions are usually there to protect your ego, your sense of self. Your brain is constantly trying to create. It takes in all of this data, and it's constantly trying to create some sort of story and some sort of timeline out of it that gives you the illusion of a coherent sense of self. Okay, you have around 7 different areas in the brain, and they work together to create that. And everything that is not in alignment with that sense of self is either rejected or considered a lie. Okay, so have a discussion with people that have strong opinions about certain things, and you will see that it's completely illogical. All right, it makes, for the most part, it's just a set of beliefs that they have, and everything is filtered through that, and they're not able to see past that. Okay, so the first step would be to explore your own mind, to explore your own core beliefs, and to take it as far as you can. Just do experiments, okay? Take on different worldviews. This week, I'm a capitalist, all right? I'm an anarcho-capitalist, and I see the world through that, window. And you will see that you will perceive things differently. Your emotions will change. You know, your enemies will change, most definitely. And you just do that for a while. And then, become a Christian for a week and really, really immerse yourself in that belief system. And you will see that your perception of the world will change. Become a whatever. Become a white supremacist for a while, okay, for like a week. And you will see that your worldview will change in a certain way. Become a Satanist for a week. Immerse yourself in that. And so on and so forth. Do that with any kind of worldview you can get your hands on, and really immerse yourself in it. And what you will find at the end is that there is no truth. Okay? There's no truth. Reality is malleable. Oh, and what I forgot to say is that um, your experiences in the world will change as well. You will draw different people into your life. Different people on the street will pick up a conversation with you. and this will show you that it's um, really a reflection of yourself. And your subconscious will make sure that you only see what is good for you. It's good, or what is in alignment with that core belief that you hold. Okay. what's the consequence of understanding that there is no truth and that in essence everything is just bullshit? Yeah. Well, it's understanding that, number one, you explore your core beliefs and step by step change them in a way where they make you more powerful. Question every core belief. Question um, every belief that you have about reality. And once you found it, once you found those fears, those projections, those beliefs, uh, you know, change them into something that serves you more, that makes you more powerful. How do you know what beliefs make you more powerful? Pick the beliefs that are more survival, right? Pick the beliefs that are more survival, that get you ahead in life. That will be the second step. And just keep doing that. Have a continuous, be continuously ready to change everything that you ever believed in an instant. Okay. Now, in order to do that and to not go crazy, there's something else you have to do as well. You have to find a place that is unshakable, no matter what goes on in the world, no matter where your, your beliefs that are tools at that point go, and where they might have to change or what they might have to change into. You are protected and free. And that place is, in essence, the understanding that you are everything. Okay, you might not have a concrete experience of that yet, but this will come in time. It will come in time. Just understand that there is just one truth, which is that you are in essence connected to everything, and through that connection, you are able, sooner or later, to affect everything too. If there was a concept of God, God would be, or if there was a God, God would be in everything, right? And at the same time, everything will be part of God. That means you have to understand that every reality tunnel must be accessible to you. Every reality tunnel. And at the same time, you understand that it is just a reality tunnel. You just pick and choose what serves you in the moment and makes you more powerful. How do you know what beliefs to change and where growth potential was? It's usually where the most pain lies, okay? The more painful it is to change the core belief, the more growth potential there is. And usually it's covered with a lot of fear, and you will have a gut and instinct reaction to reject it. But you have to go there and change it and continuously use the physical world as a feedback mechanism. Does it make you more powerful? Does the new belief make you more powerful than the old one? It's great, then you keep it. And if it doesn't, you get rid of it. This is all about accumulating power. I went into this before in one of my videos where I talked about becoming an alien in this world. Okay. And what I just described is basically the mundane application of that. You have to reject everything and in this world, and at the same time, you have to pick and choose and use every kind of belief system that serves you in the moment, but at the same time you don't fully buy into it, and that is real power, because most people are basically trapped in one lane. Okay, they don't have an adaptable mind. All right, they're trapped in one lane, and they are born into a certain belief system, into a certain class, into a certain into a certain society, culture, whatever, and that's basically their scope of and breadth of understanding of the world. But you, as a magician, as a dark sorcerer, can pick and choose because you know that it's all bullshit and all true at the same time, right? Nothing is true, everything is permitted. I think it was Austin Spare who said that. All right? You're an alien in this world, and you are just here to observe and to grow your power. How does it work? How does that work spiritually? The key to become more and more and more powerful, to become more and more powerful magically, is to constantly remove blocks, energetic blocks that keep you tied to that ego perspective. When you open your chakras, this is exactly what you're doing. When you open your chakras, you are opening those transdimensional portals that allow the flow of energy and communication between the worlds, a conscious communication between the worlds. In order to do that, your sense of self has to be changed, and it will expand, and you will see this when we go into astral travel. And some of you guys are in my order. Once you go into astral travel, you will see that you don't even have a set astral form. The longer you stay out of the body, at first you will have like an astral double. It will very much look like your physical body, but the longer you stay there, it the more it will lose its shape, and you will become this energy bubble. And at the same time, you can change it through your will into everything. It becomes very, very malleable. And by the way, a practical application of that is to go into meditation and to reshape your astral body into somebody that has the qualities that you want to have, some sort of mental quality or physical quality or whatever it might be. And over time, that will condense down into your physical body. This solidity that our physical senses perceive is an illusion, a complete illusion. It's even proven by science at this point. Okay? And by accessing your astral body consciously and reshaping it and doing that consistently over a certain period of time, you are going to change your mental qualities and physical qualities. It actually works that way. Okay. Now, what do you make out of all of this? Because at this point, you will have nobody and nothing to rely on except yourself, because you can't run to some sort of authority, some sort of religious authority. Okay, you can't go to the Pope and tell him and ask him, please, Pope Francis, Francis, homie, come on, tell me what is right and what is wrong, because you know that he has no fucking clue. You can't go to Donald Trump and ask him, please, Donald, enlighten us. Tell me. I'm sorry. Or whoever it might be, right? Any kind of authority figure that people look up to. Well, the only thing that you will have to, or will be able to rely on is the core principle that I went into before, which is the only constant in existence is evolution. All right. This world will fade. This culture will go like every other culture that's ever been on this planet. people will be born, they will die, political systems will rise and fall, relationships will come and go. And the only constant in all of that, and throughout your lifetimes, is evolution of spirit, refinement of consciousness. So use that understanding of the world in order to refine your consciousness. And what do you go by? Well, does it serve me? Does it make me stronger? Does it make me stronger in this world? Use the physical world as a feedback mechanism. This is how you measure the quality of the belief that you take on. Does it get me ahead in life? Okay. Now, obviously, your definition of getting ahead in life is probably not the same as mine. That's up to you. Build your empire based on sex, build your empire based on money, build your empire based on religion. Yeah, if you're on this lecture, you're probably not interested in building an empire based on religion, right? But you get the idea. Use this world to become stronger, like a spiritual gym. And the spiritual work has to have a counterpart in the physical as well. Everything has to become aligned. Everything has to be aligned. So your beliefs have to serve what makes you stronger. Yeah. I think I went into everything I wanted to say. Now, guys, please go ahead and ask your questions. And if they don't show up here in the chat, private message me on Facebook. Okay. Nidia asks, what is the primary difference between a brain and the mind? Good question. Well, there are certain scientists that have a worldview where consciousness and what we perceive, that thing that contemplates the meaning of existence and comes up with shit, they consider that an epiphenomenon of the physical brain. Okay. Meaning they see it in that way. Okay, you have a set of neurons that fire together, and at some point, it's such a complex interaction that you have something called consciousness. All right, and AI, artificial intelligence, is actually modeled after that. Okay, that's true. That is one truth. It is true to a certain extent, but once you go into deeper levels of meditation and astral travel, you will see that your consciousness exists completely outside of your body. Okay, it can't exist outside of your body. And why do you know it's true? Because you use that state to affect the physical world. Okay, you're like a scientist. You run experiments. You're in the astral. You affect something. You do a ritual or something like that, and something in the physical world happens in alignment with what you wanted to achieve. And that's cause and effect. Right? So you have to consider it a fact. So my definition, or what I would define as brain, is basically that, what I just said, sort of neurons that fire together and that create this thing that contemplates and thinks, and the mind would be that, the soul that is able to exist outside of it. All right. Okay. Nicholas asks, can you give any example of experiences from where the demons or spirits have tested you really hard? Yeah, of course. Well, what comes to my mind right now is basically Yeah, that one time when I had to, when Baron Samedi, uh, or Baron Sandy, uh, had me go through hell, attacked by so many people, and I had to make it. And the only way to make it and to become more powerful than them, all of those who were attacking me, was once again to let go of another layer of illusion, of separation, where I could then affect them. If that makes sense to you. I had to, once again, I was forced to let go of another layer of illusion. I don't know if, okay, I'm going to repeat the story. Well, once again, a girlfriend that tried to kill me. um, yeah, she was a member of a magical order, of a satanic order that is pretty big here in Germany. It's FS. It's called FS, the Brotherhood of Saturn. And she was the highest ranking witch in there. And but they tried to kill me, all of them. They had shifts, where where they would meet. 5 people would throw a curse at me, and then the next ones, and they would do it around the clock, and I would be attacked. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I was, whenever I closed my eyes, it was hell. It was hell. I was on the brink of not making it, and then the only way, and he, Baron Simdi, he told me, you either make it or not. So I had to once again let go of another layer of illusion to then affect them. Or let's go, Lucifer, very important spirit for me. He always, um, one of the first things he told me was that all blocks lie within me. And in order to become what I wanted to what I wanted to be, I had to let go of things within me. All right. And I would set out a goal and ask Lucifer to help me with that. And he said, okay, I will give it to you. But see, Lucifer is not a spirit that will just give you what you want. He will teach you along the way, almost like all of them, right? But Lucifer is a bit tougher of a teacher. And you set out to accomplish a goal and tell that spirit, and the next day your life falls apart. People betray you. People in your environment that are very close to you uh, try to mess with you and try to mess with you legally, with your finances and all of that stuff. And in retrospect, you understand that it's really about what had to be removed out of your life in order to achieve that goal. And since I took that teaching from Lucifer series, where I always see things like that happening as a reflection of something within me having to change, and everything as a reflection of the ongoing changes within myself, I can handle this stuff much, much better. So, there are honestly too many tests. I mean, I'm tested on a daily basis, but I think that gives you kind of an idea. I hope that I answered that question in a good way. All right. Christian asks, is as within, so without absolute or relative in your eyes? Is there any difference between these two? If not, is there even some within and without? If not, is there even some within and without? Is the inside and the outside only a matter of perception? Yes, of course. Yeah, it is a matter of perception. See, as within, so without. We use it in magic mainly to discern between the ego perspective that we experience on a daily basis. Like right now, you perceive me lecturing and you are sitting, you know, in another country behind a different screen and you're typing in this question, right? There's a distance between within and without. All right. But if I close my eyes and allow my um, awareness to drop into this ocean of energy that connects everything, I can't see you. I could even travel to you and see what you're doing. And you can also affect people doing that. Okay. So it's mainly it mainly describes the difference between the ego perspective and that other perspective that you would use in magic. So of course it's relative. There are all gradual differences between all of that. But I mean, the practical value that it has is basically this: the difference between the ego perspective and the perspective that you have to take on in order to do magic, sorcery. Okay. Nicholas asks, as within, so without. Very good. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. you know, and as you guys are thinking of some questions, I should maybe add something to that. Okay. You're familiar with the concept of evolution, right? This thing that, this theory by Darwin. And he was talking a lot about adaptability in a physical sense. But if you take on this mental approach that I just described in this lecture, it means that you are much more adaptable spiritually and mentally than most people. All right. Evolution is still an ongoing process, but for humans, it's mainly a mental process. It's mainly, you know, uh, evolution of mind. And if you take on this approach, you're much more adaptable than other people. And this is why you will have an evolutionary advantage. You'll be much more powerful than them. Joachim asks, so in essence, those people who goes through most struggles have the most potential for growth, or they adapt too slowly. I don't believe there's anybody who doesn't go through struggles. See, it always amuses me when people tell me, "Oh my God, my life is so hard," blah blah blah. I mean, we all get tested, and you know, I had some trials in my life, but compared to other people, that's nothing. Okay. And there are people who go through whatever concentration camps. People who were in concentration camps in Germany in the 1940s, early 1940s, 1930s, right? Some of them broke. I mean, some of them went crazy. Some of them, even with that kind of experience, after that they thrived, all right, because they were mentally more resistant. They could adapt better. Okay, so I really think it comes down to your resourcefulness. Some people are crushed by the smallest trials in their lives, but I mean, we got Jason on this call, right? Jason is mentally extremely strong. Okay, otherwise he wouldn't be where he is right now. And he's thriving, and he most definitely went through some challenges. You see, and ask him; he can tell you that it's all about what's going on in here. So, hmm, let me read the question again. So, in essence, those people who go through most struggles have the most potential for growth. Well, yes, of course, because if they wouldn't be tested, they wouldn't have to change. But at the same time, people who go through the most struggles and prolonged struggles are usually people who are not or are not able to adapt quick enough. Okay, now that was a long answer. Okay. Oh man, give me a second. Nicholas, what's that? Nicholas Wickstrom. Um, what's the main difference between demons and the spirits of the dead in Palo Mayombe? Well, the demons are forces of nature, in essence. Okay, they're forces of nature that you call upon in ritual, and they. What would be a good analogy? Let's say existence is a spider web. Okay, all of existence is a spider web, and you have a lot of strings in there, right? And those strings are principles, and then the demons and the deities, the god forms, are personified strings of this existence. Okay. Now, mind you, a spider web has a certain pattern. Okay, and each part reflects the whole or has the same shape as the whole. For the most part. And what you do in ritual and an evocation or something like that is you call upon one of those strings of existence and ask it to change in a certain way that brings you what you want to have. And then you send it back into this web of existence. And, the inner layer has changed, or the inner pattern has changed. And with it, the entire spider web has changed. So you have changed existence in a way that serves you. That's a demon or a god form. The spirits of the dead in Palo Mayombe, are the astral corpses that people leave behind when they die. That's what you call upon in necromantic rituals, because that's what Palo Mayombe is. It's necromancy, the most thorough and powerful form of necromancy. And then you have secret keys where you give it life again, through blood sacrifices and stuff like that. And then it serves you. The spirit of the dead serves you. Okay. It serves you, does stuff for you, affects people for you. Okay. So it's probably not you wouldn't work with the spirit of the dead to gain, like in Palo, you wouldn't work with the spirit, with the muerto, that's what they're called, right? You wouldn't work with the muerto to gain incredible insights about existence and all of that stuff. That's what a demon is for, or good for. And they can also affect things, but Palo is basically just hardcore black magic. It's just fucking people up. I mean, warfare with these kinds of spirits is just amazing because you're unfuckwittable. It's just awesome. It's basically to get results very, very quickly and very, very powerfully. Okay. Nydia asks, if gender manifests in all planes, does that mean a male spirit will incarnate strictly in a male body throughout lifetimes? No. No. In order to become everything, you have to have both polarities. You see, you have both too. You have male aspects to you as well as female aspects. Okay, so the purpose of existence is refinement of consciousness. So how could you understand something if you don't know both sides, right? So of course, you most likely have incarnated as a woman. Okay, but it goes without question that men are better, of course. You know. All right. Jason asks, you mentioned that God split existence into many different consciousnesses to experience himself. Is that where as within, so without comes from? Us, as God experiencing ourselves in everything. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. You mentioned that God split existence into many different consciousness to experience himself as there. Hmm. However, I think as above, so below suits that more. Okay, but yeah, I think that hits the nail on the head. Of course. Okay, Christian asks, what does it what does it take a person for what does it take for a person from Western culture to get into traditions such as Palo Mayombe? Honestly, I never heard of Westerners uh, being initiated. Well, I'm a Westerner too, but I mean, I never heard of a European being initiated in Palo, honestly. And that's I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you or anything, but there's no rule against it, you know. But what does it take? What does it take? Well, the spirits have to agree. Of course, you can't really buy initiation. The spirits have to agree to initiate you, and they will choose you. Okay, they will choose you. That makes sense. I've been contacted by my Palo, but padrino. That's what they're called. The padrinos, the people who scratch you, who scratch your flesh. Um, and your ancestors have to agree too, because ancestor veneration is very important in these kinds of religions. And it's actually a religion. It's a religion with a sorcery aspect to it. So what would it take? Well, the spirits have to agree, and you have to find a tata who will initiate you in it. I am a tata, so who knows? Maybe maybe one day I will scratch you. Who knows? Right. But I mean, I don't think that's a problem from Western culture. I don't think that's an issue at all. It's just that the spirits have to agree. That's the mark. But you know, they're all trying to expand their reach. So would probably make them, or they would probably like to venture out, if that makes sense. See, Palo is a very, very secretive religion, and it used to be very secretive up until the 80s or something like that. It was more of a hush hush. Almost nobody knew about it. Okay, uh, um, it was inherited from father to son, and they're homophobic as shit, man. In that religion, that's so homophobic. It's crazy. Seriously, even the spirits. So, you know, uh, not trying to offend anyone here who might have homosexual tendencies. That's okay. I don't have a problem with that. I'm just saying that certain people in that religion are very homophobic. So that will be a problem, being gay. That's okay. Well, yeah, I think that answers the question. I'm just babbling here. A second. Okay, Nydia asks, what advantage could there be in contacting and connecting with the spirits of our ancestors? What advantage? Dude, ooh. See, that's why I tell everybody, and I'm gonna answer your question with I have to go full circle here. Everybody who studies with me, or under me or something like that, and I will go into that later on. Uh, I usually tell them to go into the religion of their ancestors as one of the first things that they should do, because that's where your power lies. That's your power base. Okay, and you are, you know, your physical body is a combination of I don't know how many ancestors, how many generations of people, and some of that stayed with you. Of course, you're the product of certain people, or your physical body, at least. And of course, there's massive power in that. And they have a vested interest in protecting you. So if you have a working relationship with those spirits, with your ancestors, they will of course help you and protect you too. So um, I have a broad view Okay, I use any system I could get my hands on. I don't have a problem with any of that. But it's extremely important that you connect to the tradition of your ancestors. Okay, it's very important. You know. So Lydia, for you, that would be your Persian, right? So I think you should, at one point, I really recommend you should, uh, work with Babylonian magic at some point. Most definitely. It's a very, very, very powerful system, and very powerful deities. And I think at some point you should definitely do that. And that will actually be part of the curriculum too. And all of you guys, look for your roots. It's very important that you stay in contact with that. Okay. Um, there's some power in that, in connecting with that. Okay. All right. Nicholas asks, I actually had a divination and the spirits agreed and my ancestors agreed, but I don't know if it's my path at this moment, so it's on hold. I'm currently studying it to get an understanding. Which system, Nicholas? Which system? Palo. You should, yeah, you should be, how should I put it? Hmm. Study it, yeah, study it and take your time. And see, Palo is very ancient. Okay, it comes from the Congo originally. All right, and they were not talking the way we talk. Okay, their worldview was very, very different, and the stuff they use and the terminology and all of that stuff is very foreign to us. Okay, so what I would recommend is you get a solid understanding of magic and how to use that, and then you will be able to transfer that knowledge and understanding of things over to that system, and then it will make sense to you. Okay, the spirit lives in the prenda. What does that mean? Well, the prenda is basically just a gateway, and it represents the microcosm, right? And connects. It's a miniature universe where all this all the stuff is in there, and it can and you call the spirit through it. Okay, that's very, very foreign. That way of thinking is very, very foreign to us. So I recommend you get a solid understanding of magic, Western magic, and then you go ahead and use that understanding to do Palo and to get initiated in Palo, and you will thrive. You will be much, much, much stronger. Okay, because the more you know, the broader your understanding, the better you'll be able to then use that system. So I would recommend you go into Western magic for a bit, a couple of years, get a solid grasp on that, and then dive into Palo. And man, it's just fucking awesome. Trust me. Palo is just yeah, welcome. What is the tradition of ancestors from Hong Kong or China? Oh, that was a question before that. Christian Fool, are there any other necromancy systems besides Palomeombe worth mentioning or China? Any worth mentioning, studying? Um, well, well, you have a couple of fairly well-known Western necromancers. Um, I don't see the value in it, to be honest. To be honest, and people have this. How should I put it? It's more. people who are edgy and feel drawn to it. I personally wouldn't do it. But that's just my personal preference. Okay, if you feel drawn to that, do it. But people talk shit like, oh my God, if you surround yourself with spirits of the dead, you yourself will you will look like a dead person and it will take a toll on your health. Bullshit. I work with spirits of the dead all the time and I'm fucking healthy. I'm thriving. So that's just bullshit. So if you feel drawn towards necromancy, do it freestyle. Do it freestyle. Do it freestyle. Yeah. Learn evocation, and you will learn that in this order. Learn channeling spirits, and then go for the spirits of the dead. Build a relationship with them, and you know, surround yourself with an army of the dead. You can definitely do that. What they're usually good for is predicting the very, very near future and events that will happen, and they can affect people pretty well by attaching themselves to the aura of the person you send them towards, and then they will, you know, trigger certain emotions, thoughts, to get that person to do what they want to do. So you don't necessarily have to be in Palo to work with the spirits of the dead. All right, Anthony, what is the tradition of ancestors from Hong Kong or China? Chinese magic is huge. So I don't know. Um, but it's not my forte. I have some knowledge of it, but it's not enough to talk about it here. But it shouldn't be a problem to research that. But I would go into Tai Chi. That's what I would do. I would go into the Shaolin traditions because, believe it or not, they have a very, very um, good understanding of that, of energy work. There there are certain Buddhist schools, Tantra. Yeah, Buddhism actually has a black magic tradition as well. Okay, so I'd study that, and yeah, go. So here's how you start. I would start with studying Buddhism, the Chinese branch, and take it from there. All right. And then you will find what you need. Christian asks, how important is it to know the language a system originates from? How important is it? Hmm. I'm torn. I'm pretty torn because, I mean, I don't speak Sanskrit, but I can work with, you know, deities from that tradition, from the India, ancient India, right? I don't speak ancient Sumerian, but I can work with the deities from that epoch. Yeah, that's a good question, actually. It's a really good question. How important? Hmm. Hmm. I don't speak Hebrew, but I can use the Kabbalah. Well, I guess it's not that important if I can use all of that stuff and not speak the languages, right? But you gotta also be aware that there are certain languages that automatically trigger a magical effect in the outside world. Sanskrit is one of them. Hebrew, another one. Um, Hebrew, ancient Sumerian too. You know. So these spells that you use, these ancient spells, ancient Egyptian too. These ancient spells, they automatically create a magical effect in the outside world. So probably not even that important, man. What's more important is the intention that you put behind it. Okay. The energy with what you say something, and that's the main part, I think. Well, let me give you an example. Ashtu malkutada arkata, astu sextoltamu partu. Ieritem pal kristafilta. Vaskalare medzenturus tazastrus estos milta. Kelta, hine. Ashtu malkutada arkata. Astu sextoltamu partu. Ieritem pal kristafilta. Vaskalare medzenturus tazastrus estos milta. Kelta, hine. Okay. I guess you guys felt something, some sort of goosebumps, as if something is shifting, right? Yeah. That was an exorcism, an ancient Sumerian exorcism, and it works automatically, even if I don't really know what it means. So that's really a good question that I can't fully answer, to be honest. All right, guys, questions, please. Questions. Nicholas asks, you mentioned you like to fuck with the German football teams. Yes, I don't like them. Oh, yeah. They're fucking arrogant, incredibly arrogant. Yeah, yeah. What kind of rituals do you do for that goal? I mentioned that once. You can use certain patterns out of sacred geometry to do that, and create like something like a machine where the machine is basically just patterns drawn on a piece of paper, and they then affect the energy of the person or object you put into the picture of the person or the object that you put into the other on the other side of that pattern, and the energy is then transferred over to that thing. Media asks, can you speak on jinns in the Middle East? When I visited, it's very popular and people speak on it. I don't know how to view that topic. Basically, that's probably what it says. Well, the jinn are they hate mankind. They hate humans, and they don't respond well to being commanded. So I don't really see any use of working with them, to be honest. I never have with the jinn, really. Why would I work with them? They don't teach us. They don't teach me anything. So, never. Yeah, of course, I evoke them and stuff like that. I did that, but in terms of a path working, I don't see any use in that. In terms of having a working relationship with them, really. They're mainly a negative demon in a sense. Well, from our perspective, they're definitely not very helpful. So to themselves, they're not negative. Uh, Well, maybe that's a future path working. Who knows? I don't know. But the beautiful thing is, when you immerse yourself in those systems, you connect yourself to some sort of energetic current, and it will change how you will take on their morals from those ancient times. You will see in the world in that way. You will interpret events in a different way. It's pretty cool. You connect to an ancient force field of consciousness, and you change and shift. Yeah. For instance, yeah, I've worked with the runes extensively. The runes, and that's the I don't know, the Vikings and all of that, and very harsh, very harsh environment, uh, but also very strong. And the same with everything else, the yogic system, of course, the voodoo systems, the Palo, blah blah blah. Pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. Okay, guys. All right, I'll leave it at that, and I hope this lecture was informative. And see you on the next one. All right. Thanks for attending. Rebellion, Liberation, and Mastery. See you on the next